Our scripture lesson today comes from Luke chapter 10, verses 25 through 37. Luke 10, 25 through 37. This is probably going to be a very familiar passage to many of us. I will be reading today from the Common English Bible translation of God's holy word, and I invite you all to listen for the word of God. A legal expert stood up to test Jesus. "Teacher," he said, "what must I do to gain eternal life?" And Jesus replied, "What is written in the law? How do you interpret it?" And he responded, "You must love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your being, with all your strength, with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself." And Jesus said to him, "You've answered correctly. Do this and you will live." But the legal expert wanted to prove that he was right. So he said to Jesus, "And who is my neighbor?" Jesus replied, "A man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho. He encountered thieves who stripped him naked, beat him up, and left him near death. Now it just so happened that a priest was also going down the same road. And when he saw the injured man, he crossed over to the other side of the road and went on his way. Likewise, a Levite came by that spot, saw the injured man, crossed over to the other side of the road, and went on his way. A Samaritan who was on a journey came to where the man was, but when he saw him, he was moved with compassion. And the Samaritan went to him, bandaged his wounds, tending them with oil and wine. And then he placed the wounded man on his own donkey, took him to an inn, and took care of him. And the next day, he took 2 full days' worth of wages, gave them to the innkeeper. And he said, 'Take care of him. And when I return, I will pay you back for any additional costs.' And what do you think? Which of these 3 was a neighbor to the one who encountered the thieves?" And then the legal expert said, "Well, the one who demonstrated mercy toward him." And Jesus told him, "Go and do likewise." The word of God for the people of God.
Thanks be to God.
Let us pray. Oh, holy God, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of all of our hearts be holy and acceptable to you. For you are our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. Quick question for you, and I don't always ask for a show of hands, but this time I will. Was that the first time anybody here heard that story? Anybody at all? You notice a distinct lack of hands going up here. This is one of those stories that we all know, and it's become a story that the secular world has kind of claimed for its own. It's a lot like the story about David and Goliath. So I just say that, you don't know what that is. And we talk about that in any type of situation, it seems, where there's an underdog. We talk about David and Goliath. And when someone helps in a situation where they just really have no obligation whatsoever, we refer to them as what? Good Samaritan. This is the parable of the Good Samaritan. We've got Good Samaritan laws that protect people when you stop and help someone on the side of the road. You see someone in trouble, we have laws that protect people that help. And they're called Good Samaritan laws. This is the parable of the Good Samaritan. And I suppose if I were to look up in the pastor's handbook, that doesn't exist, by the way, it says, whenever you teach out of the parable of the Good Samaritan, you have to shame the people and get them to thinking that they should be neighbors to everybody that they encounter and make them feel real guilty and stuff. Yeah, maybe not so much. I don't think we're going to go there today. Y'all know this story. There's really not much I can tell you on that front. Jesus pretty much said it all right? Go and do likewise. So I thought we'd talk a little bit about what's not in the scripture today. What's not there? Jesus asked the question, which one of these, he says, which of these 3 was a neighbor to the man who encountered thieves. Which one of these was a neighbor? That's the question. What he doesn't ask is, who wasn't a neighbor? Who wasn't a neighbor to the one who encountered thieves? I mean, we got all the different people in the story, so who wasn't a neighbor? Who wasn't? The priest. The priest was. Who else wasn't the neighbor? The Levite. Now, we can like to lump those two kind of in the same bucket, and then what do we say about them? We say they should have stopped. Is that we're all going to be there? Well, they should have stopped. Yeah, I think so. I mean, look at this. These are the people that are basically, well, they're the Jewish people. They're basically from his home church, if you want to call it such. And when they saw him out, and they saw him in a situation that was a little bit awkward, well, they kind of like pretended that they didn't see him. If I walk down the other side of the road, maybe I can have plausible deniability that I didn't see him over there. I was all the way on the other side of the road. I didn't even notice him. Right. But you'll notice I use that S word, should. They should have stopped. We love to place our expectations on other people, don't we? We love to say, they should have stopped. They were wrong for not doing that. They should have stopped. They weren't a neighbor to this man. Who else wasn't the neighbor? Who else is in the story? The robbers were definitely not neighbors. And you look at them and it's like, no way. I mean, they left this man for dead. Who else? Who else we got in the story? Well, we got innkeeper. That's an interesting one. Because the innkeeper, was the innkeeper neighborly to the man? I would kind of say, I think so. But this is weird. This is almost a neighbor for hire sort of a thing, right? I mean, he was compensated for this. So I'm kind of saying, that's a little bit of a stretch there, Pastor. I know where we're going with that. And I guess we won't talk about the donkey because I wanted to stay with like human characters. So and there's several questions that just weren't asked as well. What was the relationship between the Samaritan and the Jewish man after this event? And this one I have to pause and say, okay, folks, this is a fictional account. There wasn't really this Good Samaritan and a person that got beat up. Now, odds are a lot of people got beat up on the side of the road going from Jerusalem down to Jericho. But this is an account that Jesus just told to make a point. So when we start taking this to an extreme, that's when we get in a little bit of trouble. But I think we can ask some other questions here. And one of them is going to be, who is not my neighbor? Who is not my neighbor? And I was thinking about this, and maybe it's guilt on my part. Oh, okay, it's definitely guilt. When I first got out of college, started working up in New Jersey, there was this dear sweet lady that I worked with, beautiful child of God. Like, you know what you're supposed to say about people when you kind of don't rub you the right way. You say, oh, it's a beautiful child of God. This is a beautiful child of God. We did not get along at all. Not even a little bit. If Jack Webb were here, he would say, the names have been changed to protect the innocent. So we're going to call this lady Mary, okay? And Mary and I just tied up every time we got in the same room, and we just didn't get along. She was constantly trying to tell this new kid that probably did need to be told, this is the way you do things. You do this. You don't do things like you do it this way, you do it this way, you do it this way. And I would wait till she get down, and then I would tell her the correct way to do it. That was a joke. Maybe that's why we didn't get along too well, I'm thinking about it. And so eventually we got to the point that we thought, well, you know, healthy neighbor. If I can't even talk with someone, I'm really not going to be a very good neighbor with them. And, realistically, that's okay, pretty much I'm monolinguistic. That would be, I speak one language. So there's so many people out there that I'm not able to communicate with, that are just not my neighbor. And if we're going to be truthful about this, there are people that just kind of rub us the wrong way, and there are people that we rub the wrong way. Now, I'm not saying that's the way that it should be. I'm saying that is reality. And we, for whatever reason, are in a situation where we just cannot be a neighbor to that person. Now, there's other people that we might make uncomfortable. I wore my clergy collar on Wednesday because it's a high holy day. If I walk out with my clergy shirt on with a little white tab on it, guess what? I'm going to make a lot of people uncomfortable. It just happens. They're like, oh, that little pastor here, I better straighten up. So, gotta watch my language around the pastor. Like, God, I can't hear from the pastor's not around. I haven't figured that one out yet. But I gotta clean up my language in my head. I can make people uncomfortable just like that. And there are other people that we make uncomfortable. I mean, I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying that's just the way that it is. And there are people, and if we're going to be truthful again, there are people that we are uncomfortable with. Now, if we can't even interact with folks, we're not going to be much of a neighbor. If we look at the Samaritan and the Jewish person in the story, and yes, they're fictional characters, but look at Samaritans and Jews. If the situation had not presented itself where this person was in need on the side of the road, if they had encountered each other in any other situation, odds are, what would have happened? Nothing. They would not have interacted with each other. They would not have spoken to each other. They would have probably gone by on opposite sides of the road and pretend just to not even notice the other person was there. Not at all. But there's something strange about the way that God lays things out in our lives. There are all sorts of potholes in the highway of life. There's a lot of storms that come along and just knock us down. Sometimes we'll get one of these times of difficulty and find ourselves in need. Or we see others that are going through situations like this. This is what happened in the parable today. And guess what happened immediately? Two people that would never otherwise interact were able to do so. You see, those people that aren't our neighbors, for whatever reason, a lot of times we are presented with situations where we are able to be a neighbor to that person. We're able to reach out to that person without that person pushing back, without that person saying, no, you make me uncomfortable. We're able, at these times in the storms of our life, to reach out to someone through the grace of God. And I believe that's ultimately what God, through Jesus Christ, is saying today. I mean, as we look at this, as we look at what's going on, we've got a situation where these two people would not interact. But as the man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho, he encountered thieves. A pothole in the highway of life that left him beside the road in need. And as we look at the Samaritan that was the neighbor, what did he do? He acknowledged this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity to be a neighbor when otherwise I could never reach this person. I could never reach out to them. And as we go through our lives, Jesus says, go and do likewise. So, very quickly, I want to spend a lot of time on this. I want us to talk just a bit about who are the people that we encounter. And our conference provides for us some information about the demographics of our area. So what I did is I did a 7.5 mile radius from right here to see what are the people like that live within 7.5 miles of here. going to be one or the other. I mean, we're a good mixture of blue-collar versus white-collar workers in our area. These are our neighbors. These are the people that we can reach out to. Let's see what else we have. Now, this one was a little surprising to me. This is the ethnic racial profile for the area around within a 7.5 mile radius. Folks, this is a very, very Anglo population. Very Anglo. If we look around our church, guess what we see? We see a very Anglo in congregation. Now, the next largest, if you can't see it, is going to be the Hispanic population. It's going to be roughly 8.5%, and these two combined make 96% of the population of the area. So these are the groups that actually live here by far the largest group. I think there may be one more. Now this one's interesting. This one is called the Mosaic group. So this is the type of person based on census information and other data that we collected. What are the people that live here? What are they? What are their interests? What are the households like? Let me just kind of touch on this. I don't want to go into too much. The largest group there, the blue group that's over there, that's about 1/3 of everyone living in the Whitney area, is what the study called town elders. These are stable, minimalist seniors living in older residents and seeking sedentary lifestyle. These are some older folks that live here. It says about 1/3 of the population of our area is older folks. The next group, and up there, that's going to be the orange group. It says that this group is the lower middle class baby boomers that are living in rural towns and country homes. Someone that doesn't want to live in the cities. That sound familiar to anybody? Bottom line. The next group, the next largest group, it's a little surprising. It's the yellow group there. This is going to be digital dependents. This is going to be a mixture of Generation X and Generation Y. This is the younger group. The younger group. And this is going to be largely made up of singles that live digital-driven lifestyles. So they're all about their cell phone, they're all about their Netflix, they're all about everything having to do with the internet and connectivity and the lifestyle that it provides. So this is the group that's the next largest, and then we get into the green group, which is older, empty nesting couples and singles, and they likewise enjoy living in relaxed lives in a small town. And the next one is called, this would be the red group, older middle-class households in town and country communities located in the nation's midsection. One of the things I thought was interesting about the digital dependence, and this is in some of the notes as far as the demographics, it says that churches probably won't connect with them through Sunday worship. I didn't like that. I don't know about y'all. I like when we can do what we're doing and reach out to people. And this is saying that if we're wanting to reach the younger folks, the odds are we're not going to do it here. We're not going to do it on Sunday morning. It says that they may connect through sophisticated interactive websites. So make no mistake, it is possible to have intimate friendships and profound conversations through the internet. Small groups are a real possibility built around affinities for relationships, gaming, fantasy, and liberal social causes. But groups will meet in cyberspace and only occasionally in an internet cafe. They may watch a podcast of a religious performance or a presentation by a credible spiritual leader. And as we look at the different groups of folks, we can put ourselves in one of the groups that are here. And then we have to ask ourselves, which of the other people that live in our area that I bump into in the grocery store, that I see at the 8th grade assembly, that I see around, which of these people are not my neighbor? Which of these people do I make uncomfortable? Which people make me uncomfortable? And then, just like the Samaritan, I have to look for ways that I can bridge that gap and genuinely be a neighbor. It might be learning Spanish. That might be a way that I can do that. It might be that I encounter someone, I don't know, hypothetically, after a tornado hits out near the Cowboy Church. I might encounter someone you're going through the week, look at the people around you with the eye of, am I a neighbor to that person? Am I a neighbor to those people? Ooh, I said it, didn't I? Those people. Who are those people that I want to be part of us? And then, that's not enough. And then, what are we going to do? What will we do to reach out? Would you pray with me? Holy loving God, we thank you for the opportunity that even the worst of times provides for us to reach out to be a neighbor. Lord, help us to take advantage of every opportunity to exhibit your love. Help us to see people not as those people, but as your children. And help us to acknowledge where we are not being a neighbor, so that we might lean on your love, so we might become a neighbor to those who need. We ask all these things in the name of your only Son, Jesus.